Cloverfield is a 2008 monster horror movie shot in a found footage style, directed by Matt Reeves and produced by J.J. Abrams. The story kicks off with a group of friends throwing a going-away party in New York City, but their night takes a terrifying turn when a massive creature, literally the size of a skyscraper, suddenly attacks the city. The monster itself, nicknamed Clover, during production was created by J.J. Abrams and designed by the artist called Neville Page. Interestingly, the name Cloverfield doesn't actually refer to the creature in the movie. It is the name of the Department of Defense's case file on the event. Officially, the monster is called the LSA, which stands for Large Scale Aggressor, as revealed in the movie's Blu-ray special features. So here in this video we will explain the creature's biology, starting with its size, design, origins, growth, and its parasites. Let's get to it. Although conceived by the film's creators as an infant creature, this monster is 25 stories tall, which corresponds to around 250 feet or 76 meters in height, which is only because the creators of the movie mistook a floor height of New York City as 3 meters or 10 feet. But this size scaling may be an oversimplification, as the floor height, for example, in residential skyscrapers in New York is usually 3.5 meters or close to 12 feet, which means that the 25 stories might actually mean an 87.5 meters or 287 feet tall monster. Then if we consider office skyscrapers' floor heights in the Big Apple, then the size would be even more, as each floor on average is around 4 to 4.5 meters. Therefore, 25 stories tall here would correspond to 100 meters or 112 meters, which translates to between 328 to 367 feet. Thus, we can say that the Cloverfield monster is at minimum 250 feet or 76 meters, and at maximum 112 meters or 367 feet. The Clover monster has a really creepy design with a tough inbuilt endoskeleton and a massively dense set of muscle fibers. It's sort of a mix between a quadruped and something that can stand upright for short bursts of time. Its body is built with super long limbs compared to its core, which gives it an awkward newborn look. The creature's front limbs are massive compared to the rest of its body, while its back legs are shorter and stubbier. The double-jointed squat legs are still powerful enough to support the creature's mass, and yet still allow it to move relatively quickly for an organism of its size. Each of its feet is around 30 to 40 feet in length, roughly the size of a city transit bus. One of the weirdest features though is what is under its belly. It has these long tube-like appendages called the external esophagi that end in what look like toothy fingers. They were designed to show how massive the creature is by the way it interacts with humans, and apparently there were scenes of these things that were grabbing and eating people, but they didn't make the final cut of the movie. Its head is sharp and bony with massive eyes that have really huge pupils that they almost completely cover the whites. Its face looks like something out of a nightmare, kind of like a mix between a piranha and an anglerfish. One of its standout features is the weird, squishy sacs behind its eyes. These things inflate and deflate, and no one knows for sure what they do. Some think they're like frog ear membranes, while others speculate they're filled with fluid to help it handle the crazy shifts in pressure from living underwater to stomping on land. Another theory is that they help the monster breathe, since regular air might feel super thin for something so huge. Whatever they're for, they just add to how alien and freaky the creature looks. This monster also has this eerie grey skin with a pale, almost ghostly look, probably because it lived deep down on the ocean floor where there is no light. The creature's skin also shows an unnaturally strong resilience to projectile weaponry, and this is widely thought to be due to the immensely high resistance that deep-sea creatures have to adapt to, which is of course to pressures that can rise up to more than 700 to 800 times that of atmospheric levels. Thus, due to this, creatures from the deep have shown resistance against heat and pressure due to their environmental conditions. Shells from even the main battle tanks, the M1A2 Abrams, the M109A6 Paladin artillery, as well as AT-4 rockets, Javelin missile launchers, AGM-65 Maverick missiles, Mk-82 bombs and other high-powered ordnance failed to do anything other than aggravate and scare the creature. Now for origins, the viral marketing campaign for Cloverfield suggested that the creature was an ancient amphibious organism, a deep-sea creature with an unknown evolutionary history. The species apparently has a very long lifespan, as the creature, which is still an infant during the events of the movie, is said to have been alive for thousands of years. It grew to this massive size through consuming large amounts of seabed nectar, which is a natural steroid-like substance that is very addictive and causes increased cell division and growth. This substance, funny enough, was used by a Japanese company called Tagurato, a subsidiary of it called Slusho, for use as their secret ingredient in a frozen drink of the same name. So the reason why New York was squashed was due to a soft drink. So the creature had been observed for quite a while, and at some point of time, the monster went into a sort of hibernation for unknown reasons. Maybe it got sleepy after consuming a lot of the nectar. We all get sleepy if we eat too much. Then before the rig, which was created to drill and extract the seabed nectar, was supposed to open, the company Tagurato sent several submarines from its station down almost 6 miles to the ocean floor to study the monster. And since it is said to be its origin point in the Atlantic, the only place with those kind of numbers of depth would be in the Milwaukee Deep off the coast of Puerto Rico. This action instead disturbed the creature from its slumber, awakened it, and in a fit of rage and fear, it destroyed the station, then somehow proceeded towards Manhattan, which was 1500 miles or 2400 kilometers away. So the Cloverfield monster had a pretty wild diet beyond just the mysterious seabed nectar that helped it grow so massive. It is basically an apex predator that eats everything it can find. Early hints about what it eats came from a photo showing whales it had partially devoured. In the movie, Marlena even mentions seeing it eating people, which is as terrifying as it sounds. It has those creepy external esophagus-like tubes under its belly which are perfectly sized for grabbing and eating humans. And it is also seen using them to chow down on multiple horses at once in some amateur footage from the event. But it doesn't just rely on tubes, it also uses its massive mouth. Basically, this thing started as something much smaller, but after some thousands of years of feeding on the seabed nectar, which seems to act like a growth stimulant, and scavenging on sea animal carcasses that sank to the bottom of the ocean floor, it just kept growing until it became the skyscraper-sized monster we see in the movie. And apparently the Cloverfield monster comes with its own horrifying sidekicks, parasites officially named HSPs, or human-scale parasites. These dog-sized creatures were added to the film to create terrifying up-close encounters with the protagonist, since the main monster was too massive for direct interactions. They have pale crustacean-like bodies covered in tough carapace, 6 spider-like legs, 4 pincers, and a huge jaw. Their heads are covered with multiple black eyes, and they can climb walls, stick to ceilings, and leap long distances, making them even more terrifying. Their movements are a mix of crab-like scuttling and rabbit bounding, with a vicious pack hunting style. The monster itself is covered in over 2,000 of these horrifying creatures, shedding them like a post-birth ritual when it first emerges. It is even suggested that the parasites might be part of why the monster came on land in the first place, to just get rid of them. See, these parasites attack aggressively and release a yellow saliva-like substance around their mouths. If one bites you, you're in a world of hurt. Victims develop dizziness, then bleed heavily from their eyes and nose and vomit blood, and eventually, within 20 to 40 minutes, their torsos swell and explode. The US military initially thought that the yellow substance was their venom, but later studies suggested that it might be their saliva mixed with the seawater or other chemicals. The parasites are suspected to have high levels of seabed nectar in their systems, linking them to the monster's origins. Thus, these are the reasons why the Cloverfield monster is so beloved. Its striking details, its parasites, its biology, all of it. All of the minute trivia as to its realness. So that's all we can showcase about the Cloverfield monster's origins, biology, and design. Anyway, support us by liking and subscribing, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Take care, fam.